Do you feel as though the markets are prepared when the Fed eventually decides to start tapering and cutting back its bond purchases?
Morning, Dom. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I do think currently the market is prepared. I think a couple of the reasons why is there's clear communication. You're seeing different areas and different leaders in the Fed speaking about, the timeline at which they would think it would be appropriate to kind of pull back and ease some of these monetary policies. And so I think as long as the market has a clear kind of indication, it's not some of that a sticker shock kind of thing that happens here. I think that the market will act appropriately. I think if you're cutting back on either in the 120 billion a month at some point, if it's later on in the year or in 2022, if the market has that clear communication, which has been a thing that the Fed has been great at throughout, as you saw from the March 23rd lows through to 23rd lows of 2020 to now, then I think the market could kind of act accordingly, and we'd probably see, we're at a situation where we could still march higher in the effect of any tapering.
Delano, we just showed the chart. We're showing it still right now since the pandemic lows, the Dow and the S&P 500. I mean, essentially, we've doubled pretty much, right, since the pandemic lows for the S&P 500 for sure. Is there a case to be made right now that the Fed is actually acting appropriately? The markets are doing pretty well. They are forward-looking. They're predicting things are going to be okay in the future. The economy seems to be holding up. Everything seems to be lining up for a market that is justified at these levels, or is it not?
Yeah, great question, Dom. I think at these levels, everything seems to be justified. I think we're now seeing a little bit of the market trying to understand how the rate that we're going to slow down, whether it's, you saw the retail data out of China, you're going to get the print for retail data here in the U.S. But I think really the market's trying to assess, can we go further from here? And I think a lot of that is why we're seeing a little bit of trudging along in the early morning trading yesterday. We saw only utilities were the only thing above water, only sector above water. But I think we could justify these levels. And now to go further, another catalyst further, we have to see a little bit more. The market needs to see stronger growth data. We need to see earnings in quarter three. We're seeing companies buy back. So there seems to be indication that, management of companies are seeing some strong things within their equity. So I do think right now that's why we're seeing kind of a flat line level of what the market's been trading at over the past week or so.
What do you think is the leadership? I mean, what happens now since the pandemic lows? We've talked about hotels doing well and airlines doing well and energy doing well. And are those the same places that we can expect to see that future leadership? I ask only because everyone likes to make a big deal of the fact that the markets at these high levels have been broadening out in terms of leadership. It isn't just Amazon and Microsoft and Apple that are leading the way higher.
Dom, that's a great question. I do think, there's kind of the Tom Lee was talking about the everything rally. I think once we get past some of these, headwinds in the near term, I do think there'll probably be an everything rally, because at that situation, you're looking at macro level, you're looking at a situation where there's not very many catalysts to pull back the market and justify a correction. Now, there are areas of the market, like you mentioned, sectors that you'd probably want to look for reasonable growth, and those are more if you drill down to different companies, right? And I think if you're looking at some companies that are trading at reasonable levels, especially for growth companies on the revenue basis, top line valuation basis, then you might see some areas where sectors that are performing strong. I know you pointed out cryptocurrency pullback, or comeback uptrend recently. I think that's another area where, especially for my clients, they're starting to look for more yield. So I think there's going to be different areas, but I do believe there'll be more breadth if we get past some of these headwinds in the near term.